Hey, welcome back one more time. You've made it to the last video for week 2. Congratulations. This is a very brief video and it is about the differences between informative and persuasive speaking. As you know, you will do both. And as I've mentioned before, informative speaking should be as void of persuasion as possible. You should try not to persuade people with your informative speech. However, with your persuasive speech, you will inform people in order to get them to see something differently, change their minds, their attitudes, beliefs, or values. So let's just go over some highlights here on things to keep up with as you're considering the differences. So, informative speaking is just facts, information, knowledge, or ideas. You're educating people, but you're doing it objectively so that you don't have sort of an agenda that you're pushing on other people. Um, when you give these facts, you don't want to add sort of your commentary. You just give it to folks and they can make their own mind up about how to interpret it. But with persuasive speaking, you're going to really package information in a way that tries to change those attitudes, beliefs, values, or behavior. You're going to plan things so that you are at every step, I hope, trying to change these processes that people are going through mentally. You want to bring them closer to what you think is accurate or right. Now, when you think about really giving a speech, you'll only ever give a speech for one of three reasons: to inform, persuade, or entertain. And honestly, these are often sort of commingled together. It's very hard to just find pure examples, but some might be for informative speaking, like a technical directions. So you're at the uh, training thing for seminar, sorry, for your company, and they give you just information about how to do things, how the processes work. Step one, step two, step three. That's very action related. It's hard to find this in public speaking settings beyond like scientific data presentations or this very objective research findings or instruction. Now, pure persuasive examples might be a sales pitch, obviously, a political advertisement, any advertisement, asking someone for a favor, that sort of thing. Now, what I would say when you compare informative and persuasive here, though, is that look at this one: presentation of scientific data or results. That's as informative as you can get, really, but just bringing up that this study was done and here are the results is persuasive because it tells that audience this topic was important enough to study it, and this study was important enough to report it, and this report is important enough to give it to you right now. Right? So there's a lot of persuasion that can happen on sort of these below the surface levels. So be aware of that, but it that doesn't cross over into obvious intentional persuasion. Again, the pure persuasion is pretty clear. To sell someone something, you need to tell them how great it is. To be a politician and to get elected, you need to tell someone what all you'll do for them. Those sorts of things are informing them, but your end goal is persuasion. Now, when you think about entertainment, it could be like a storytelling kind of competition for entertainment, not for learning, like a parable or stand up comedy, that kind of thing. Most examples are blended, like university lectures. Here's this new information, but it's very valuable, and I hope that you can apply it someday. Like later on in this class, you're speaking, you're going to do that here, but you can hopefully take it out and use it at work or in the community. When we think about teaching kids lessons, we have to combine informing and persuading and entertaining because we've got to give them some basic knowledge, right? So the example here is that germs are everywhere and that germs can be dangerous. Then we want to persuade them to do something. So don't do things like chew your nails and make sure that you wash your hands all the time. And when you think about being informative, germs are bad; persuasive, wash your hands; maybe entertainment, because if you don't, the germ monster might come in and whatever it might be. I have a 4-year-old. I'm used to this. But that would be sort of combining all three to get your point across. But again, the goal was not to just make them laugh or to give them information, it's to change their behavior. News is usually blended. We talked about that in the last video because the facts from all the reports are the same. I mean, it either happened a certain way or it didn't. So the facts are the facts, but the commentary is where the persuasion happens, what you should believe, and honestly, what news agencies decide to run in terms of stories. I mean, there's thousands of things happening in the world at any time, millions of things, but the five that is in that hour of programming on CNN or Fox or wherever, that's what they thought was most important. So they are then persuading you that other things aren't as important as these. It's very subtle. Entertainment, it's used to, and it varies depending on sort of what's going on with a particular speaker or topic. This again can be added in to any speech, whether it's informative or persuasive, as a way to gain and maintain the audience's attention. We'll talk more about that as we get to what you're going to be doing. Speaking of, here's the outline. We'll cover this next time around. But you'll see there the first thing is an attention getter. And sometimes this entertainment can work as an attention getter for either an informative, persuasive, or blended example of a speech. All right. So that's what we have now in terms of understanding the differences. I would remind you that you have an assignment due this week. You've got that worksheet or worksheets for your topic and sources. I am pushing the Speech Lab tour to next week, so I will make a note about that when I post everything. But as always, have a great week. Let me know what questions you have, and I will see you soon. Thanks.